The assessment. For centuries, the Galactic Confederation monitored Earth from afar. They watched humans through hidden sensors and classified Earth as a gravity-bound planet. This label meant they believed humans would never leave their homeworld in significant numbers. The alien observers noted how humans struggled with their early space programs. They saw the primitive rockets that barely reached orbit, the limited space stations, and the brief visits to the moon that never led to permanent settlements. The Confederation's scientists wrote detailed reports about Earth's unusually dense atmosphere and strong gravity pull. These factors, they claimed, made large-scale space travel nearly impossible for humans. Species 7721 demonstrates minimal space potential, wrote Chief Observers Lack in his quarterly report. Their biological structure is poorly adapted for void travel, and their technological development follows predictable patterns seen in other planetary-bound species. The Confederation assigned only a single monitoring station to Earth, hidden behind the moon. They considered this more than adequate for a planet they believed would remain isolated for centuries to come. The station was staffed by junior officers, mostly trainees who had failed to qualify for more prestigious postings near spacefaring civilizations. Officer Neil, a young alien from the water worlds of Proxima, found the assignment boring. "Nothing ever happens with the humans," he complained to his supervisor. "They send up the same satellites. They argue about the same resources. They never change." His supervisor, Commander Vex, had monitored Earth for 20 years. "That's precisely why we're here," she explained. "To confirm nothing changes. The assessment panel predicts humans will need at least another 1,000 years before they could pose any interest to the Confederation." The aliens watched as humans built the International Space Station and celebrated this achievement as if it were remarkable. The Confederation's xenoanthropologists, scientists who studied alien cultures, found human behavior fascinating but primitive. They documented how humans dreamed about stars in their movies and books while failing to develop the technologies needed to reach them. "Their fiction is more advanced than their actual capabilities," noted Dr. Yills in her famous study, Earth, Dreams versus Reality. "Humans imagine faster-than-light travel while struggling to reach their own satellite." What the Confederation didn't realize was how their presence had been detected years ago. A small group of Earth scientists had noticed unusual readings from lunar orbit. Data analyst Frank Miller was the first to spot the pattern while reviewing satellite information. "This isn't natural," he told his supervisor at NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Division. "Something or someone is actively scanning Earth from behind the moon." His discovery was quickly classified top secret. World leaders agreed that whatever was watching them should continue to believe humans were stuck on Earth. This misconception could give humanity the advantage of surprise, if they could develop in secret the technologies needed for true space travel. Meanwhile, the aliens continued their observations, completely unaware that humans had discovered them. The Confederation's annual reports consistently rated Earth as non-spacefaring, with a minimal threat assessment. They predicted humans would remain trapped by Earth's gravity for centuries. "Their largest rockets can barely escape their atmosphere," wrote one analyst. "Their attempts at Mars exploration have been limited to unmanned probes. They lack the unified purpose and technological innovation needed for true interstellar travel." The Confederation's leadership accepted these assessments without question. They decreased funding for Earth monitoring, considering it a waste of resources. They redirected their attention to what they believed were more advanced civilizations elsewhere in the galaxy. It would prove to be their greatest mistake. Behind the scenes, humanity was far from the primitive space travelers the Confederation believed them to be. Earth's nations had been working together in secret for decades, hidden from alien observation through clever deception. Dr. Olivia Grant led this covert global effort from an underground facility beneath the Arizona desert. At 53, with gray-streaked brown hair and piercing eyes, she coordinated thousands of scientists worldwide working on breakthrough propulsion technologies. "The aliens think we're still playing with chemical rockets," she told her team during their monthly briefing. "Let's keep it that way while we perfect the fusion drives." The public space programs, NASA, ESA, and others, continued launching conventional rockets as a smokescreen. Meanwhile, the real advances happened in shielded facilities designed to block alien scanning technology. Admiral Peter Collins, a former Navy submarine commander, applied his knowledge of staying hidden beneath the ocean to concealing humanity's true progress. "Submarines taught me that the best place to hide is where no one thinks to look," he often said. His military experience proved invaluable in developing protocols to shield Earth's activities from watching eyes. The lunar far side, permanently hidden from Earth, became humanity's primary development center. Bases built within deep craters remained invisible to the Confederation's monitoring station. Inside these secret facilities, engineers tested new propulsion systems that would eventually power the colony ships. Don Russell headed the Artificial Gravity Project, perhaps the most important breakthrough of all. A brilliant physicist with a farmer's practical mindset, he approached the problem differently than his predecessors. "Everyone tried to generate gravity artificially," Dan explained to new team members. "I looked at how to manipulate existing gravitational fields instead." His team's discovery made long-term space habitation possible. Without it, humans would suffer bone loss and muscle atrophy during extended space travel. With it, generation ships could sustain human populations for decades or even centuries. Construction of the first prototype ships began in hidden shipyards built inside hollowed-out asteroids. These massive facilities were disguised as mining operations, with only small conventional ships visible to outside observers. The project wasn't without challenges. Security breaches threatened to expose everything several times. When junior engineer Kyle Bennett nearly leaked information during a public conference, Security Chief Maria Rodriguez had to intervene quickly. "Remember what's at stake," she told him afterward. "The element of surprise is our only advantage against civilizations thousands of years ahead of us." Food production in space represented another critical challenge. Dr. Sophia Wilson developed hydroponic systems capable of feeding thousands on limited resources. Her agricultural domes became the blueprint for how colony ships would sustain their populations during long voyages. "Plants are our partners in this journey," Sophia reminded her team. "They'll provide our oxygen, food, and help maintain our sanity among the stars." Earth's leaders maintained the deception by continuing to argue publicly about minor space initiatives. They staged international disagreements about lunar mining rights and Mars missions, all while secretly pooling resources for the Exodus project. The Confederation observers noted these squabbles with satisfaction. "See how they waste time arguing while making no real progress," one alien analyst reported. "Classic behavior of a pre-spacefaring species trapped by their own limitations." Meanwhile, construction continued. By 2030, humanity had secretly assembled 50 prototype ships in the asteroid belt. By 2040, that number had grown to 200, each capable of supporting 10,000 people indefinitely. The most remarkable achievement remained completely hidden: a revolutionary propulsion system developed by engineer Raj Patel. His gravity wave drive could accelerate ships to near-light speeds without massive fuel requirements. The technology would allow humanity to reach nearby star systems within years rather than centuries. "The aliens think we're gravity-bound," Admiral Collins told the Security Council during their annual review. "But in reality, we've learned to ride gravity itself across the stars." The breaking point came in 2045 when Samantha Nichols made an unexpected discovery. As CEO of Asteroid Mining Corporation, AMC, she had sent robots to survey a small asteroid near Mars. The mining bots found something that wasn't supposed to be there: an alien monitoring device. "It's definitely not human technology," Samantha explained to the Earth Security Council. She stood before the gathered leaders, her usually confident voice now tight with concern. "The device has been tracking our mining ships' movements for at least 5 years." The room fell silent. Until now, humanity had only known about the Confederation observation post behind the moon. This new discovery meant the aliens had expanded their monitoring network. "They're watching us more closely," said President Clark. "The question is, why?" Admiral Chen studied the images of the alien device. "They might suspect something. Our deception may not be working anymore." For decades, Earth had maintained the illusion of slow progress in space. Public space agencies launched conventional rockets while the real work happened in secret. But as humanity's hidden fleet grew, so did the challenge of keeping it concealed. Dr. Howard from the Science Division cleared his throat. "There's another problem. Earth doesn't have much time left." He displayed charts showing Earth's declining resources and worsening climate. Food production was falling. Clean water was becoming scarce in many regions. The planet's population had reached 11 billion. "Even with our best conservation efforts, Earth can't support humanity much longer," he continued. "We need to start the exodus within 5 years, or we risk planetary social collapse." Commander Joseph Martinez, head of the Fleet Coordination Division, spoke next. "The colony ships in the Mars shipyards are at 85% completion. We can accelerate production, but that increases the risk of detection." Security Director Patricia Johnson shook her head. "Every time we increase activity around Mars, we need more countermeasures to hide it from the Confederation. Our resources are stretched thin already." The Council debated through the night. By morning, they had reached a decision that would change humanity's future forever. They would accelerate the Exodus plan. "Better to reveal ourselves on our terms than wait until we're discovered," President Clark concluded. "Commander Martinez, you have authority to proceed at maximum speed." Within days, the hidden shipyards throughout the solar system increased production to round-the-clock schedules. The plan called for 1,000 ships. Now they would need to be ready in just 3 years. Commander Martinez established his headquarters in the Olympus Mons base on Mars, coordinating the massive construction effort. Engineers worked in shifts, sleeping in temporary quarters beside the massive vessels they were building. "Every ship needs to be self-sufficient," Martinez reminded his team during daily briefings. "Each one carries a piece of humanity's future." The ships came in different sizes and designs. The largest were city ships, capable of supporting up to 100,000 people for generations if necessary. Smaller vessels were designed for exploration or resource gathering. Each had artificial gravity, hydroponic farms, and fusion power systems. While the fleet preparation accelerated, Earth's governments began the difficult task of selecting who would go. Every nation received a quota based on population. Selection committees worked day and night to choose colonists with the skills needed to build new civilizations. "We need farmers as much as physicists," explained Selection Director Helen Ross. "Artists as much as engineers. We're not just sending technology to the stars. We're sending human culture." For many on Earth, the selection process brought hope to increasingly difficult lives. Billions applied for the colonist positions. Those chosen began training in secret facilities, preparing for a journey unlike any in human history. Meanwhile, Samantha Nichols and her team created a network of decoys around the solar system to distract the Confederation observers from the real activity. Their efforts seemed to work. The alien reports continued to classify humans as a gravity-bound species with minimal space potential. But time was running out. Earth was dying, and the greatest migration in human history was about to begin. As the launch date approached, preparation activity intensified throughout the solar system. The fleet, humanity's greatest achievement, took final form in the hidden shipyards of Mars orbit. 1,000 vessels of varying sizes and functions, each representing the combined knowledge and hopes of an entire planet. Lisa Wong led the diplomatic corps from their training facility beneath the Pacific Ocean. At 42, she had spent her career in international relations before being selected to develop first contact protocols. Now she faced the greatest diplomatic challenge in history, introducing humanity to the galactic community. "We don't know how they'll react," Lisa told her team during their final briefing. "The Confederation has ignored us for centuries. When 1,000 ships suddenly appear, they'll have to acknowledge us. But will they welcome us or see us as a threat?" Her team had developed multiple response scenarios. but everyone knew they were operating with limited information. The aliens might have rules, customs, or expectations humans couldn't anticipate. Our approach must balance confidence with respect. Lisa continued. We are neither conquerors nor beggars. We are simply a species taking our rightful place among the stars. While diplomats practiced first contact scenarios, Major William Carter trained the defense forces. Unlike traditional military units, these men and women had been selected for their ability to show restraint under pressure. Our weapons are defensive only, Carter reminded his officers during training exercises. We're not looking for fights, but we must be able to protect our people if necessary. The defense ships practiced formation flying in the rings of Saturn, using the ice particles to mask their movements from distant observers. Their stealth technology, developed from studying the alien monitoring devices, should keep them hidden until the moment of revelation. Across the fleet, preparation reached fever pitch. Engineers ran final checks on life support systems. Doctors stocked medical bays with supplies for treating everything from common colds to surgical emergencies. Botanists carefully tended the seedlings that would eventually become forests on new worlds. Captain Natalie Reeves stood on the bridge of the flagship Earthrise, watching her crew run through final system checks. At 38, she had been selected to lead the vanguard of humanity's exodus. The responsibility weighed heavily on her shoulders. Engineering reports all systems green, Captain, her first officer reported. Natalie nodded. And the colonists? The final groups are boarding now. We'll reach full capacity in 6 hours. The Earthrise would carry 50,000 people, a small city's worth of humanity. To the Ta Ceti system, 17 light-years from Earth, the journey would take just under 5 years with the new drive systems. Scientists had identified 2 potentially habitable planets in the system, nicknamed Haven and Sanctuary. Similar scenes played out across the fleet. Each ship contained carefully selected groups of colonists, balanced for age, skills, and genetic diversity. Some were families, others individuals, all united by the desire to build a new future among the stars. On Earth, billions watched hidden live streams of the final preparations. For security reasons, these broadcasts weren't available on public networks, but secure channels kept Earth's population informed of progress. In orbit around Mars, final supplies moved from transfer stations to colony ships. Food, medical equipment, construction materials, and cultural artifacts. Humanity was taking its history and hopes to the stars. The generation ships, massive vessels designed to travel for decades if necessary, completed their loadings first. These behemoths would serve as backup plans if the faster ships encountered problems. They carried seed banks containing samples of Earth's biodiversity, libraries with humanity's knowledge, and cryogenic facilities that could preserve thousands in suspended animation. As the countdown clock showed just 1 week remaining, the fleet gathered in formation behind Mars, hidden from Earth's night sky, and, they hoped, from Confederation observers. Final checks confirmed every system was operational, every crew ready, every colonist prepared. Captain Reeves looked out at the assembled ships, a lump forming in her throat. It's really happening, she whispered to herself. We're about to change everything. The morning of June 12, 2048 began like any other day on Earth. People went to work, children attended school, and life continued its normal rhythm. Only those with the highest security clearances knew that by sunset, human history would change forever. At precisely 900 UTC, a coded message flashed to hidden facilities around the world. Operation Exodus is go. Within minutes, massive hangar doors slid open in remote mountain ranges. Water churned as underwater bases activated launch sequences. Desert sands shifted to reveal spacecraft hidden beneath the surface. In the Confederation monitoring station behind the moon, Junior Observer Crix was the first to notice something unusual. His scanner showed a single energy spike in the North American region, then another in Asia, then dozens more around the planet. "Commander," he called nervously, "I'm detecting multiple anomalies on Earth." Commander Zulet floated over to the monitoring station. Probably just atmospheric disturbances. Earth always has. The commander stopped mid-sentence as the display lit up with hundreds of energy signatures. All across Earth, hidden ships were powering up simultaneously. "What is happening?" Zulat whispered, mandibles clicking in confusion. On Earth, massive exhaust vents opened in seemingly ordinary mountain faces. Glaciers in Antarctica slid apart to reveal launch platforms. Ocean waters boiled as submerged craft prepared for ascent. The first ship to break atmosphere was the Morning Star, rising from a hidden base in the Ural Mountains. Its massive fusion drives left a trail of blue flame as it accelerated upward. Within seconds, hundreds more followed from every continent. The sky darkened as ship after ship rose toward space. Ordinary citizens stopped in streets, looking up in wonder at the spectacle. For most, this was the first they knew of the Exodus plan. Public broadcasts began explaining what was happening, revealing the decades of secret preparation. In Moscow, an old woman wept as she watched the ships rise. "My grandson is up there," she told a stranger beside her. "He was selected last year. I thought I would never see him again, but now." Similar scenes played out worldwide. Some cheered the departing ships. Others prayed. Many simply watched in stunned silence as humanity revealed its true face to the stars. At the Confederation monitoring station, chaos erupted. "Sir, I'm counting over 500, no, 700, now over 900 spacecraft leaving Earth's atmosphere." Junior Observer Crix reported, his voice rising with each number. "They're using propulsion technology we didn't know they had." Commander Zulet stared at the display in disbelief. According to all Confederation records, humans were a gravity-bound species with minimal space capability. Yet here were hundreds of ships, many larger than anything in the Confederation's own fleet, rising confidently toward the stars. "Send an emergency report to Central Command," Zulet ordered. Classification: Immediate crisis response. Species 7721 has achieved spacefaring status without detection. As the exodus continued, the ships that had reached orbit began forming into organized groups. The main colonization fleet assembled behind Mars, while smaller defense vessels took protective positions. From the flagship Earthrise, Ambassador Kevin Daniels prepared to address not just humanity, but the galaxy. His message was broadcast on all frequencies, including those the humans had identified as used by the Confederation. "To all sentient beings who share this galaxy with us, I send greetings from humanity. For centuries, we have been watched and classified as a species trapped on our home world. Today, we demonstrate otherwise. Our 1,000 ships carry not weapons of war, but the hopes and dreams of a species ready to join the galactic community. We come not as conquerors, but as neighbors, seeking only the right to grow beyond our cradle. We extend a hand of friendship to all who would receive it." As the message played across multiple languages and formats, the Exodus fleet began to move. Ships accelerated toward predetermined coordinates, using gravity wave drives that bent space itself to achieve speeds the Confederation had thought impossible for humanity. Behind them, Earth continued its rotation, now carrying a lighter burden. The planet's future remained uncertain, but humanity's survival was no longer bound to a single world. The emergency session of the Confederation Council began just 6 hours after Earth's fleet revealed itself. Representatives from 37 spacefaring species gathered in the Great Circular Chamber on Proxima Station. Many had traveled via emergency translocation, abandoning important duties to address what some were already calling the human question. High Counselor Vex of the Ardani species called the session to order. "We face an unprecedented situation," she announced, her translucent skin pulsing with stress colors. "A species classified as gravity-bound has revealed advanced spacefaring capabilities without detection. This represents the greatest intelligence failure in Confederation history." The chamber erupted in voices. Some demanded immediate military response. Others called for diplomatic outreach. Still others questioned how this could have happened at all. "Our monitoring systems have tracked Earth for centuries," said Representative Ziltrax of the methane-breathing Gallian Collective. "How did they hide an entire space program from us?" The chief intelligence officer, a tall insectoid named Kraz, stepped forward. "Preliminary analysis suggests the humans deliberately maintained a facade of primitive space capability while developing their true technology in shielded locations. They studied our monitoring methods and exploited their weaknesses." This admission sent another wave of concern through the gathered representatives. If humans could deceive the Confederation so thoroughly, what else might they be capable of? "Do we consider them hostile?" asked the military representative from the warrior Targan species. Before anyone could answer, the chamber doors opened. 2 humans entered, escorted by Confederation security officers. The room fell silent as the aliens studied these representatives of Earth. Senior diplomat Alan Foster walked with calm confidence despite being surrounded by creatures from across the galaxy. Beside him, scientist Dr. Elizabeth Jackson carried data crystals containing Earth's formal introduction to the galactic community. "Greetings, honored representatives," Alan said, his voice calm and measured. "We come in peace, seeking only to explain our actions and request formal recognition of humanity's status as a spacefaring civilization." High Counselor Vex gestured to the speaking platform. "You may address the Council, human representatives, but know that many here view your sudden emergence with alarm." Elen nodded respectfully before beginning his presentation. "For centuries, your Confederation has watched Earth, classifying us as trapped by our planet's gravity. We discovered your monitoring station behind our moon 50 years ago. Rather than announce this discovery, we chose to observe the observers." Murmurs spread through the chamber as translation systems conveyed his words to each species. "We learned that you considered us primitive and non-threatening," Alan continued. "This gave us time to develop our technology without interference or restriction. We did not deceive you out of hostile intent, but out of necessity." Dr. Elizabeth Jackson stepped forward, activating the data crystals. Holographic displays showed Earth's deteriorating climate and resource depletion. "Our planet could no longer sustain our population," she explained. "We faced extinction if we remained bound to Earth. Our exodus was not an act of aggression, but one of survival." The displays shifted to show the colony ships' destinations, all carefully selected to avoid territories claimed by Confederation species. "We seek only unclaimed worlds where we can build new homes," Alan said. "We have no desire for conflict with any species represented here." The Council deliberated for 3 days. Some representatives argued that humans had proven themselves deceptive and could not be trusted. Others pointed out that no Confederation laws had been broken. Non-member species were not required to report technological advances. Meanwhile, Earth's fleet had already dispersed to 7 star systems, establishing initial outposts on uninhabited worlds. The ships maintained contact with each other, but made no aggressive moves toward Confederation territories. On the 4th day, the Council reached its decision. High Counselor Vex addressed the human representatives. "The Confederation acknowledges humanity's spacefaring status. While your methods of emergence concern us, we recognize your right to expand to unclaimed worlds. We will establish diplomatic relations and begin the process of evaluating Earth for potential membership." Alan Foster bowed slightly. "Humanity thanks the Council for its wisdom. We look forward to peaceful coexistence among the stars." As the formal session ended, many representatives approached the humans with questions. What began as suspicion gradually shifted toward cautious curiosity. The galaxy had a new player. 5 years after the Exodus, humanity had spread across 7 star systems. The colony on Taw City II, now called New Eden, had grown from a collection of landing pods to a thriving city of 100,000. Similar settlements flourished on worlds circling Epsilon Eridani, 61 Cygni, and 4 other carefully selected stars. Captain Ryan Cooper stood on the bridge of the deep space vessel Horizon, watching as his crew prepared for another jump. At 36, he had already traveled farther from Earth than any human in previous generations could have imagined possible. The horizon served as humanity's farthest-reaching explorer, scouting potential worlds for future colonies. Gravity drive charged to full capacity, Captain, reported his navigation officer, ready to jump on your command. Ryan nodded, feeling the familiar mix of excitement and responsibility. Take us to the next system. The stars outside the viewports blurred as the ship accelerated to near-light speed, then slipped into the artificial wormhole created by its gravity drive. The journey of 15 light-years would take just under 3 days. Back on Earth, conditions had improved dramatically. With billions of people now living among the stars, pressure on the planet's resources had eased. Forests were growing back in areas once stripped bare. Wildlife returned to regions where it had disappeared decades ago. The exodus had given Earth time to heal. Susan Moore, humanity's chief trade negotiator, had just concluded her most ambitious agreement yet. Representatives from 12 alien species had signed treaties establishing regular exchange of goods and knowledge with human colonies. Her office in the rebuilt United Nations building overlooked a cleaner, greener New York harbor. The Lyrians have agreed to share their medical technology, she told her team during their morning briefing. In exchange, they're fascinated by our music. Apparently, our vocal range produces sounds they find deeply moving. Such cultural exchanges had become common. Humanity discovered that while some alien species had superior technology, humans excelled in areas the Confederation had overlooked. Art, music, literature, and cooking had become surprisingly valuable exports from human colonies. On the colony World Haven, engineer Chris Evans watched as construction robots completed a new dome. The settlement had grown to support 30,000 colonists, with more arriving each month. Chris had helped design the colony's water reclamation system, ensuring sustainable growth for generations. My grandfather worked in a factory making car parts, he told a group of visiting aliens from the methane-breathing Gallian species. Now I'm helping build a civilization on a planet 20 light-years from Earth. Sometimes I can hardly believe how far we've come. The Confederation had formally amended their records regarding humanity. The new classification acknowledged humans as a rapidly adapting spacefaring species with exceptional creative potential. Several Confederation species had established embassies on Earth and at the larger colonies. Dr. Amy Wright led the Cultural Exchange Program at New Eden's University. Her students included not just humans but young beings from 3 other species. Humans have a unique perspective on the universe, she explained during her opening lecture. We developed in isolation, without knowing there were others among the stars. This gave us both independence and hunger, qualities that still define us as we explore the galaxy. The graduation ceremony that year included the first non-human to complete a degree at a human institution. The event was broadcast across human settlements and to watching Confederation worlds. In deep space, the horizon emerged from its jump near an unexplored star system. Ryan Cooper ordered a full scan of the area. Captain, we're detecting artificial structures on the 4th planet, his science officer reported with excitement. They appear abandoned, but they're definitely not natural formations. Ryan studied the readings carefully. Send a message to Earth Command. We may have discovered evidence of another civilization, one unknown to the Confederation. Such discoveries had become more common as human ships pushed into regions the Confederation had never thoroughly explored. Humanity's drive to find new frontiers sometimes puzzled their alien neighbors, but it had already expanded the galaxy's known history. As Ryan prepared to lead the first expedition to the mysterious structures, he thought about the journey that had brought humanity to this point. They thought Earth was our prison. He often told new recruits joining his crew, but it was only ever our starting line.